Hi everybody, and welcome to the channel. I got some deep fried, gooey in the middle, and of course lightly seared news coming for you straight out the toaster oven. Canada, also known as Canada. They have a basketball league. Did you know that? I had no idea. But the rabbit hole goes much deeper than this. Canada's basketball league is offering Bitcoin as an option for players to receive as salary. That's right, the CEBL will enable Bitcoin payments through a partnership with BitBuy. So this is a trend, as we saw the Carolina Panthers' Russell Okung receive 50% of his salary in Bitcoin. This was in December of 2020. So professional sports players are realizing that getting paid in Bitcoin is an investment in the future. And so we had Kimball McKenzie of the Guelph Nighthawks. I mean, the guy's a legend. Go Nighthawks, by the way. But he was basically saying that this opportunity to be paid in Bitcoin is really exciting because he believes that this investment will appreciate greatly over the next 10 to 30 years. So the Canadian Basketball League and its players are making this really exciting first step in early adoption and allowing Bitcoin to be a mode of payment. And so all of this influx of attention and money is going to start flagging the awareness of people who are interested, not only protecting customers and protecting the population, governments, regulatory bodies, but also people who are interested in maintaining control and who are trying to limit people removing their funds out of traditional monetary systems and placing their money into cryptocurrencies. And so with that, we see an emerging story coming out of England. This is Bank TSB set to bar 5.4 million customers from buying crypto. So I looked into this a little bit, and first of all, you have to decode the headlines. Barring people from crypto is impossible unless you remove their access to internet and tie them to a chair. They're not barring their access to cryptocurrencies. They're disabling the customer's ability to deposit funds directly from the bank into a cryptocurrency exchange. Okay, so banks can't disable people's access to crypto, but they can prevent them from withdrawing the money from a specific bank into an account, on an exchange. In particular, Bank TSB has moved to prevent people from depositing money into Binance and Kraken. And what they're citing is basically a rising number of crypto fraud incidents and complaints that have been logged by users of the bank. And so it makes sense. A lot of people who use this bank pull $500, place it in something that is a scam, and then they go to their bank and they say, hey, this was a scam, help me. Can you get my money back? And that's where a bank starts being like, what's going on? And this is happening too much, so let's pull the plug. So this isn't necessarily like the big bad banks trying to, destroy freedom. This can be seen as a response by banks to all the complaints of their customers who have maybe made poor decisions and who have lost money because they've placed their money into scams or have put their money into volatile markets and are trying to find a way to get their money back. And this is a trend. This isn't only happening in Bank TSB. Other British banks such as Barclays and Starling have moved to ban customers from depositing cash in cryptocurrency trading platforms. And then you may remember at the beginning of the year, we saw HSBC move to prevent customers from withdrawing profits from crypto exchanges into their bank accounts. So, I could stand here and say that banks are clamping down their iron fist on the free will of the public and are threats to the freedom that cryptocurrency offers, and that we need to destroy banks by, sending in hordes of drone ants or something like that. But I really want to lean more in a realistic and neutral place with what's going on. And I think a main reality that we're dealing with is a disconnection between the emerging cryptocurrency market and traditional banking systems and governments. There is a lack of communication. They don't understand each other. And when you don't understand something, you're afraid of it. And if you do have an interest to protect people, if you have an interest to protect your customers if you're a bank, or if you have an interest to protect your citizens if you're a government, and if you don't understand a cryptocurrency market which has created a lot of opportunities for fraud, and millions of people have lost millions of dollars in the cryptocurrency space, both to volatility and to fraud, then if you only are looking at those numbers, you're going to start questioning the cryptocurrency ecosystem, and you're going to start regulating it heavily because you don't have information that would tell you that you could trust it. And so there needs to be a link between the emerging cryptocurrency markets and traditional banking and governments who have a lot of power to regulate and to make it very hard for people to use cryptocurrencies in their everyday life. We have to really be aware of what the jobs of governments and banks are. In a lot of ways, a lot of their resources and time and money go to protecting people from criminals. A government is sort of like a big hornet's nest that protects you from all the other bad guys in the jungle. And a bank is a big vault that protects your money. So when you have so much fraud and so much money being lost in these cryptocurrency markets that are like the Wild West of money, where wagons get attacked by marauders of an altcoin, you have a situation where you need some sort of policing, you need some sort of protection for people who might not be really sure what they're getting themselves into and who lose their life savings in many cases because of scams. So who is working to help provide governments and banks the type of information and data that they need so that they can do their job to protect their citizens and protect their customers? Well, I was exposed to a project. It's called Sekuritance. And this is essentially a leader in what's called reg tech, which some people would argue is the new fintech. On their website, you see that written exactly as I just said it. So RegTech is regulatory technology. And of course, if you understand fintech, financial technology, eventually you're going to need RegTech to integrate with fintech, or else you're just going to have financial technology without any regulation. And financial markets need to be regulated. Again, it's kind of like a country without police. How do you ensure that people are safe walking around the streets? Well, obviously you could have an anarchist society and there'd be a lot of freedom there, but would you allow your child to go get ice cream in an anarchist society without his or her sword, right? So, and how much money would you allow that child to carry to the ice cream parlor? So what a project like Sekuritance helps to ensure is more trust, security, and more access to information. When I had to get my identity verified by Binance, it took 3 weeks. And something that Sekuritance is hoping to do is to allow that process to take seconds, because they will allow there to be a massive database of blockchain encrypted information that's accessible to Binance that allows them to easily vet me. Binance is forced to get my social security number, my ID, and all of my information because of the regulation on Binance. Because taxes, you got to pay them and you're going to die. Those are the two realities of life. And also, Earth is flat, as we all know. So that's one use case of Sekuritance, is making the identity verification process much quicker, which is great for exchanges and other cryptocurrency markets that are required to get information about its customers. But this is also really big for governments and banks because it allows them to have access to cryptographically secured information. So let's say you had a project that had a really successful seed round, raised a lot of money, is being brought into market. There's maybe $100 million in there, a bunch of people from all over the world who have pumped their money into this project. And so a government will look at that project and they'll say, well, how do I know that a warlord isn't pumping his blood money into that token and laundering his blood money? How do I know that that's not happening? And that's where you have international regulations come in and say, hey, look, we need information about who's buying your token. And we need to make sure that there aren't any criminals who are becoming empowered through this, altcoin. So a project like Sekuritance helps to secure and supply information and allows that information to be traded securely between projects and regulatory bodies. And that's a game changer. Information needs a channel to flow through. Information that is not channeled becomes stagnant and it becomes centralized. If you can have information that is free flowing, accessible, but also secure, that's the dream of blockchain, and Sekuritance takes advantage of blockchain technologies to allow all the information that's required by regulatory bodies to be accessible, to be secured, and to be usable by, as we see here, governments, exchanges, and banks. And all of this being automated. And this is similar to how fintech is so innovative and disruptive, because in financial technologies like in the decentralized exchanges, the different markets that are emerging that allow you to automatically invest using algorithms and smart contracts. Similarly, we're going to see this in RegTech, and Sekuritance helps to sift through that information and deliver with AI, with automation, deliver that information directly to governing bodies, directly to banks, allowing there to be a much more easy process of vetting. And because governments and banks aren't only interested in regulating one or two projects, they're interested in regulating the entire cryptocurrency market, it makes sense that Sekuritance would be blockchain agnostic. So it's aiming to be an interchain web of information, which I think is beautiful, that allows there to be, again, communication and connection between two different worlds, between regulators and disruptive technology and the cryptocurrency universe. To wall ourselves off from the entire global ecosystem is not smart when you're trying to change the world. And so I see blockchain technologies as globally transformative. I believe that blockchain is here to stay, and a project that can create a bridge between the regulators and the banks that are often here to protect us, and giving them access to information that they need to do their job, is a positive thing for the overall health, I think, of the cryptocurrency market. So I'm very intrigued by this project, and I'm excited to see where it's growing and where it's going. You can check them out at Sekuritance.com. They have a great white paper. The technology is multi-layered and a little bit confusing, so I wanted to keep this high level for you guys. But if you wanted to get into this specific technology, how their token is used, how they used a hybridized blockchain design, a lot of the different aspects of their technology, which is really interesting, go check out their white paper and check out their founders, their team. One of their members is the lead in Trust Swap. So some really awesome people working on this project, and I think it has a lot of potential moving forward. Friends, family, fellow Canadian basketball players, thank you so much for tuning in. I wish you best of luck on your adventure. Have fun, and I'll talk to you soon.